Before there was anything, there was darkness. Not the kind we know when we turn off the lights, but something deeper. A silence that existed before sound itself. A canvas that waited for color. A pause before the first breath of creation. In that endless stillness, there was no contrast, no shadow, no shape. Just potential. Infinite. Unmeasured. Untouched. Science tells us that before light, there was a universe compressed into something unimaginably small. No stars, no galaxies, not even space as we understand it. But philosophy whispers something else. That darkness was not an absence, but a womb. A place where everything that would ever exist slept, waiting to awaken. When we speak of before light, we're stepping outside of time itself, because time, too, was born when light began to move. Darkness before light wasn't measured in seconds or years. It was a state of being, the universe in meditation, holding its breath before creation's first sigh. Imagine a painter staring at an empty canvas. That blankness isn't nothing. It's a promise. It's the stage before the first stroke defines reality. In the same way, cosmic darkness was pregnant with energy, compressed into a singular point, what we now call the singularity. Then came the expansion, the great release, what humans later named the Big Bang. But even then, light didn't arrive instantly. The early universe was thick, a storm of particles colliding, absorbing, scattering. Photons, the messengers of light, were trapped, unable to travel freely. So even after the Big Bang, the universe remained dark for hundreds of thousands of years. The darkness persisted, holding space for what was to come. When light finally broke free, it didn't just illuminate matter. It revealed structure, movement, and direction. Light gave meaning to the darkness that had always been there. Yet, in a strange way, darkness never left. Even now, it fills most of the cosmos, vast oceans of nothing between islands of stars. Perhaps light didn't destroy darkness. It simply allowed us to see it differently. Because without light, darkness is invisible. And without darkness, light has nothing to define itself against. The two are not enemies. They are twin expressions of the same truth. Existence requires contrast. If light is revelation, then darkness is mystery. And mystery, in many ways, is where discovery begins. It's easy to think of darkness as emptiness, but the universe shows us again and again that what seems empty is often full of unseen energy. Dark matter, dark energy, invisible forces shaping galaxies, holding the cosmos together. Darkness is not gone. It is the quiet architect of everything. Every night sky reminds us of this. The stars may sparkle, but it's the darkness that makes them visible. So maybe the question isn't how did darkness exist before light, but why did light need darkness to begin with? The answer might be found not in physics, but in perspective. Because the story of light and darkness is also the story of awareness. We too are made of that same contrast, clarity and confusion, knowing and not knowing. Our minds echo the cosmos that made us. When you close your eyes, you return, for a moment, to that primal darkness. It's not frightening, it's familiar. It's where ideas are born before they take shape. Every spark of inspiration, every discovery, every creation begins there, in silence, in stillness, in dark. And just like the universe, we carry both. the light that reveals and the darkness that gives meaning to it. Perhaps that's why looking at the night sky feels like looking inward, because what we see out there is also what we are made of. Darkness before light wasn't an absence of being. It was the universe dreaming of itself. And when light finally came, it wasn't the end of darkness, it was its awakening. Because only through darkness can light understand what it means to shine. And in that balance, that dance between what is seen and unseen, the story of everything truly began. When darkness yielded to light, the cosmos did not merely become visible. It learned new ways to arrange itself, turning silence into pattern. Atoms found rhythms, pairing and parting in patient steps that would later become the grammar of chemistry. Gravity pulled gas into knots, and those knots ignited as the first stars, furnaces forging the ingredients of future worlds. With each stellar generation, complexity accumulated, planets cooled, chemistry deepened, and niches for life quietly opened. On a small rocky world, chemistry reached a tipping point, and life emerged. An improbable, delicate loop that began to experiment with being. Life learned to notice, eyes and sensors evolved, nervous systems developed, and awareness began to fold the outer world inward. Humans learned to translate light into stories, using myths, measurements, and mathematics to locate themselves in the great expanse. Light became both metaphor and instrument, revealing landscapes and shaping the way we think about truth and proof. But every new lamp we lit also cast unfamiliar shadows. The clearer our sight, the larger the perimeter of mystery at its edge. This is the paradox of knowledge. Illumination creates new frontiers of unknown, so each answer arrives as an invitation to ask again. At the smallest scales, light behaves like both particle and wave, reminding us that reality resists simple tales and prefers nuanced truth. This unsettles certainty and invites a gentle humility. Observation is not passive. To look is to alter. The act of seeing participates in becoming, and measurement changes meaning, sometimes in ways we only glimpse later. Thus, darkness and light emerged as collaborators. One held possibility, the other selected what would take shape and story. Our minds mirror this dance. We need silence to imagine and clarity to test those imaginings. Neither alone is sufficient. In art, darkness defines depth. In music, the rest frames the note. Creation requires an unseen stage to perform upon, and that stage is often tender and quiet. There is courage in entering the dark, to sit with not knowing long enough for questions to ripen into insight, and to return with discoveries that feel like gifts rather than prizes. Tools extend us. Telescopes and microscopes carry our curiosity to scales we cannot enter, bringing back new puzzles to ponder, and they demand responsibility in how we use what we learn. As we extend light, humility must follow. The cosmos is vast, and our seeing is narrow. Progress is a slow conversation, not conquest, and each generation hears new riffs on the same ancient song. Perhaps the deepest lesson from the dawn of light is that creation is ongoing, a permission to be surprised, to keep asking, to keep making meaning out of mystery. Here is where ethics and wonder meet, choosing what to illuminate, how to care for what we reveal, and how to share the light we possess without trampling the fragile lives that depend on darkness for renewal. Science draws maps and models. Wonder supplies value and urgency. Together, They guide how we steward knowledge and one another across fragile worlds. When you tilt your head to the night and watch photons that began long before you, you touch both time and feeling. In that simple act of looking, you participate in the cosmos story. Your question becomes the next line in a conversation that never ends. That line links us to generations of seekers, an unbroken chain of curiosity carried by starlight into the present moment. Each life is a small experiment in illumination. Learning, teaching, loving. All extend light into corners once dark and change those corners forever. That is a gentle responsibility. To shine where help is needed, to protect where light would unsettle, and to allow darkness its room to dream and mend. Do not fear the dark within. It is often the birthplace of compassion, courage, and art. Depth gives your light its direction and weight, teaching patience and restraint. The universe moves in cycles. Stars live and die, galaxies mingle, darkness and light exchange roles across vast timescales in slow, elegant rhythm. We are brief witnesses to that dance, yet within our briefness lies power. The power to wonder, to learn, and to choose what light reveals and what remains sacredly obscure. True wisdom may be accepting that some mysteries persist. Sitting with them, without forcing closure, is to live in tune with becoming and to leave space for future questions. Look outward and inward. Let the night sky be a mirror and a map, urging you to keep questioning and to keep shaping meaning from mystery rather than rushing to tidy answers. If this quiet voyage has left you with an ache of curiosity, let it stir you to look again and to speak gently about what you learn. Stay with us for more subdued journeys where science meets soul. Subscribe for more cosmic stories on Why and How Studio.